It's November 13th, JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today and the Treasury Titans. Nothing in this video is financial advice, but let's go. The U.S. government shutdown is over. It's time to get liquidity back. And Chris wants us to know that if the last 6 months didn't shake us out, the next 6 months will make us rich. Well, time will tell, but I like that sentiment. Strategy wants us to think different. And of course, that's with Stretch, because Stretch is approached 100 par. Its volatility is dropping. I mean, look at what's happened with Stretch. I was a buyer right here, as you guys know from my tweets. I wrote it up. I wrote it back a little bit. I wrote it back up. And here we go now, flatlining around 100. It's been looking beautiful the past few days. Absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait for Monday. Monday is going to show, I'm going to guess 776 Bitcoin. That was my guess last week. I was 1 week early. I think this week we're going to get 776. So just like we did last week, a lot of people came close around the mid 200s. Put in the comment section, how many Bitcoin do we think Strategy is going to buy just from their Stretch proceeds alone? I'm going to say 776 Bitcoin. That's my guess. I'm sticking to it. Ragnar says, today was an iPhone moment for Stretch. It traded most of the day above par. That's above 100. It closed the day at $100.01 above par, which is beautiful. Anything else, by the way, would be Saylor leaving money on the table, which Saylor does not want to do. He does not want to leave any dirty fiat on the table. He wants to take all that dirty fiat, turn it into beautiful, pristine Bitcoin, into the coffers of Strategy and the MSTR shareholders. That's us. That's you and me. A record volume of 1.77 million shares traded on $177 million in volume. That's crazy. 177 million shares were traded. $177 million of volume happens. If they just ATN 5%, they raised 8.8 million today. If they did 10, 17 million, 20, 35 million, you get where we're going with that. So the Stretch purchase led, so today's Stretch ATM led to a Bitcoin purchase of somewhere between 87 to 350 Bitcoin just today. And of course, this is an estimate. This is just what we're thinking, we're hoping. You know, that's to me reasonable, between 5 to 20% of ATM based on the price action today. That would be absolutely unbelievable. I may need to revise my 776 Bitcoin. That would mean 435 to 1750 Bitcoin per week at this rate. We have arrived. This is the iPhone moment. And we are not bullish enough about what this means for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin treasury company industry. Love it. Bitmaster said, when MSTR reached $543 last year, and by the way, I was there for that. I was there that day. I was sitting actually in this chair when it happened. Their 1.0 MNAV base was in the 130s. That means if MSTR dropped to 1 MNAV, the price would have dropped to $130. That move was very fake, and it effed people up mentally. It really did. That 543 pump, that was just the blow off top. And we've seen blow off tops in crypto and Bitcoin for years now. Why are we so surprised that MSTR was going to have one? It was an absolutely fake blow off top. But despite this move down, and it's been painful, the 1.0 MNAV base continues to strengthen. It's now $207 despite Bitcoin doing nothing. So now the floor of 1.0 MNAV went from 130 to 207. And that's just from us sitting here for a year. What do you think it's going to be next year? $300 and then $500 and then $1,000. I mean, it's just going to keep going up, especially with Stretch doing such amazing things. That's the power of your Bitcoin per share always increasing. And man, I love this. Rob says, MSTR's sell-off generally coincides with the launch of Stretch. The market's longing Stretch and shorting MSTR. The trade continues until MSTR trades below 1 MNAV. Once it does, Saylor will announce he's using the pref proceeds to buy MSTR stock, further increasing Bitcoin per share. The result, rising Bitcoin per share regardless of the equity condition. So this is the beautiful thing. This is why Saylor has it all figured out. This is why the flywheel's in full effect. If the MNAV goes below 1, Saylor has already said he's going to buy the stock back. He can buy the stock back with what he's doing with Stretch and Strike and Strife and Stream. And it's unbelievable. So he is in complete control. The financial engineering is there. We can just sit around 1 MNAV, 1.3 MNAV, 1.2 MNAV, 1.4. We can just sit around there and wait until the market pumps, until Bitcoin pumps, until the MNAV expands again, until sentiment shifts again. And of course, it's just a matter of time. Adam says, imagine the trading volume a year on Stretch from now and the ATM as a percentage. And this is just one tool in the toolbox. The amount of wealth Michael Saylor will create for Bitcoiners will be staggering. And I'm here for the ride. Rob says Stretch is going to eventually trade over $1 billion in volume a day. And this is in less than 1 year, is his guess. Saylor is going to be ATMing to the tune of $100 to $200 million a day. That's an insane amount of buy pressure, constantly taking more and more Bitcoin off the market. So you have a growing demand meeting less and less liquidity supply forever held by MSTR. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what's coming, and Rob would know because he's not a rocket scientist. Short-term volatility in the stock is just a buying opportunity for those that understand this. Not financial advice. Don't listen to some guy on the internet with HODL in their name. So true. Zinx, I actually jumped on a quick Twitter space with Zinx, and it was the guy's name is Little Retard, who's very bearish MSTR. The guy's bullish Bitcoin, but he's bearish MSTR. And by the way, he's bearish MSTR because he's clueless about MSTR. He's done no work about MSTR. He's done not a minute of research. And so, of course, he doesn't get it. And that's okay. Zinx gets it. I've really been enjoying a lot of Zinx posts. And Zinx was very succinct, really, basically put Little Retard in his place if they were willing to listen. But of course, they're not because they're just clueless. They don't have the understanding or knowledge. But I actually requested to speak, but they would not let me in there. They probably didn't like the fact that my what is it called? The image, the logo that I have is MSTR Today. They probably knew I was going to come in on the side of MSTR, of course, and they didn't want more than one person championing MSTR. So good job, Zinx. Was proud of you, buddy. You did great work. And he promises that one day he'll start marveling about how beautiful Stretch is. But damn, I can't be the only one who's watching it all the time thinking, time to hit the ATM. We are truly lucky to have a front row seats to the birth of digital credit. Billions will be raised weekly. And Matt Cole says, nearly all Bitcoin investing mistakes stem from 1, not being bullish enough, 2, not having a long enough time horizon, 3, taking bad debt terms, 4, not properly securing your Bitcoin. And then ASST was purposely built to provide amplified Bitcoin exposure and avoid every issue above. And of course, so was strategy. And of course, I am not guilty of not being bullish enough. I'm bullish enough. 2, I have a long enough time horizon. I hope you do as well. 3 and 4, I'm glad that I'm investing in a company that's not taking bad debt terms. That's both strategy and MetaPlanet. And I am trusting the fact that they are securely securing their Bitcoin. I trust them. And guess what? That's a risk I'm taking. But that is a trust that I do have. And that's why I'm investing in only companies that I truly trust in that area. Now we're going to move on to a post about MetaPlanet. I mean, look at these earnings reports. This is the Q3 earnings report. The net sales were $2.4 billion. Their operating profit was $1.3 billion. Their net income was $12.7 billion. Their total assets are $532 billion. This is insane. I mean, this was a company that was going out of business because they own hotels. They figured out the Bitcoin treasury company method. They read the Saylor playbook. They're executing it beautifully right now. And I am very bullish on the long-term time horizon of MetaPlanet, and of course, MSTR. Chris says, capital naturally concentrates where credit quality, scale, liquidity, and trust are highest. This is why digital credit is a winner takes most markets. This is why strategy is the winner. It's done. Strategy is the winner. It's done. Now, of course, there's going to be other companies that do really, really well and probably in some cases have better returns because they're such smaller companies right now. They have such smaller market caps like a MetaPlanet, like other companies like that. Who knows what Strive and ASST are going to do, but their market cap is so much smaller that there's more opportunity to expand quickly, but strategy won. Strategy is the winner. Everybody else is fighting for the scraps. And by the way, the scraps are beautiful. Ragnar says, the coolest thing about being a long-term investor is simply to place your chips and then enjoy your life. The companies you invested in will work 24/7 to expand and become more successful on your behalf. And by the way, that's what I love. Right now, Saylor, Fong Lee, the entire strategy team, Dylan, Simon, the entire MetaPlanet team, they're working right now tirelessly for me as I'm just sitting here in my air-conditioned little studio in Puerto Rico. I just took a beautiful walk, watched the sunrise over the Caribbean with my dog, Gus. I'm about to go downstairs and play with my 2-year-old son, Bo. I mean, I'm enjoying life. And of course, I'm loving the fact that these companies, these individuals are working so hard for me every single day, for you, the shareholders. Ragnar says, I can't even keep up with everything the teams are doing. Tesla's releasing new FSD versions. Bitcoin treasury companies are tirelessly raising more capital. It's 100% delegation. I love it. Sweet and pure capitalism. And what I do with all this capital, I will help heal the world with psychedelic therapy. I have the best life ever. And that's what Ragnar is deciding to do. I, of course, am going to be deciding on what philanthropic ventures I want to continue to contribute to at even higher levels. And that's the world we live in. And by the way, I've had a lot of people in the comment section be like, "Hey, John, what like else do you do?" Well, just a real quick side note: since 2012, I've been running the only daily podcast in the world interviewing entrepreneurs. It's called Entrepreneurs on Fire. It's literally 7 days a week. I've produced over 4,786 episodes as of today, over 170 million listens of the show. I love that show. It's my passion. I do it again. I actually have 7 interviews today with amazing entrepreneurs, and I can't wait for those 7 interviews. That's my core business. This right here, this show is what I do because I'm so passionate about strategy, about what Michael Saylor is doing, the financial engineering genius of our life. And I know a lot of you appreciate that. Like you in the comment section, comment how much you appreciate this show. And I appreciate your appreciation because we're in this together. So comment below. Let me know that you are enjoying the show, how many Bitcoin you think Saylor is going to use via Stretch next week that will be or used this week that we'll be announcing on Monday, and enjoy the Saylor Schwab interview. Adios. Senator Cynthia Lummis recently announced that funding for a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve can start anytime. This is a massive step forward for a strategic crypto stockpile, and no surprise, was soon followed by a new all-time high for Bitcoin. If you're looking to buy more Bitcoin, BitIRA can help. In fact, BitIRA will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into Bitcoin. This also allows you to buy Bitcoin using pre-tax funds, then continue to invest in it over time as you do any other retirement account. And if you want, you can even add XRP, Ethereum, or other cryptos. BitIRA protects your assets with end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and is registered with the US government. Your IRA is fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without incurring taxes on any buys or sells. Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Think about this. In March, President Trump signed an executive order for the Treasury to manage 200,000 Bitcoin as the foundation for a reserve. That's just the foundation. Go to bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin. Fire Nation, when you want more for your business, more privacy, more guidance, more success, it all starts with Northwest Registered Agents. These legends have been helping entrepreneurs launch and grow their businesses for nearly 30 years. They're the largest registered agent and LLC service in the U.S. with over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know your state's laws and actually care about helping you win. With Northwest, you can build your complete business identity, everything from what your customers see to what they don't, operating agreements, meeting minutes, compliance paperwork, and more. You'll get thousands of free resources, lawyer drafted forms, and step-by-step guides all in one place, and you don't even need to create an account to access them. Best part, privacy is automatic. Northwest never sells your data and handles everything in-house. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free.
Okay, so that's what got us here. Let's just talk about the short term, 2025 year end. Where does it end up? Because I've heard everything from 100 to 200,000.
Yeah, well, the consensus of all the equity analysts, and there's like a dozen of them that cover our stock, is north of 150,000. Our corporate guidance is targeted at $150,000 by the end of the year.
Right. Okay, and sort of looking further out, have you got a sort of a 2030 target?
I don't have a specific target, but in the 4 to 8 year time frame, I think Bitcoin goes to $1 million a coin. My 2021 year expectation is Bitcoin appreciates about 29% a year for 21 years, and that leaves it at $21 million 21 years from now. So I think that Bitcoin will appreciate in the range of 29 to 30% a year for 20 years from this point.
Okay, you seem to like that number, 21. Just as far as what we have to work with through the end of the year now, I mean, is there a favorable macro environment to support that as well?
I think the drivers right now will be Fed decisions with regarding monetary policy. Clearly, that drives every asset class, and we've had a fairly tight monetary policy right now, and if that policy loosens, that'll be a driver. I think other than that, the industry is volatile, and the primary actors in this case are the banks. And every time a bank makes a major announcement about Bitcoin acceptance or crypto adoption, those are all very positive for the asset class, and those should come progressively.
It's interesting, just as far as the more recent price action that we've seen off the back of October the 10th. I mean, we did certainly see a risk on for equities, but it feels like Bitcoin's kind of been stuck and sort of lost the momentum. Why is that?
I think it's a $2.5 trillion asset class that's been unbanked. So imagine that you started a company, NVIDIA, and you gave 90% of the stock to the employees, and they went from $1 to being worth $3 trillion, but no bank would give them a loan against it. So you're an employee, you've got trillions of dollars of capital gains, but no one will give you a nickel loan against it. You cannot get a loan. You could post, you have $10 billion of Bitcoin. You can't get a $1,000 loan from a major bank right now. So what happens is the OG crypto holders, the ones that actually had the capital gain, the only path they have the liquidity is to either rehypothecate the Bitcoin and it gets shorted in the market, or to sell the Bitcoin. So I think we're working through a period where 10% of the supply, or it wouldn't. What percentage of the equity in your big tech company would be sold by employees? When they all got insanely rich, probably 10-20%, right? They would sell at least. So we're waiting for that to boil off, and we're at the point where everybody knows that Bitcoin is digital gold and it's got institutional acceptance. But banks are very careful, bureaucratic, and process-driven creatures, and they should be, right? I mean, if banks get out of control, right, there's hell to pay. So I think it'll take 4 years for the conventional, traditional banking establishment to get spun up, where they're custodying the asset and they're extending credit against the asset, and it's worked its way into systems.
What's the second best? There is no second best.